Hey, it's Super Rude Dog. This is the first video that I'm going to make. I'm going to make a lot of detail videos on this desk build. One of the things about the details is a lot of times when people build things and they show what they've done on here, they really don't cover the details. This is my output and lighting controller. This is an IDVT. I built this in the first desk that I made. So I'm going to reuse it. One of the things that I want to talk about, because I see where people thought they lost their instructions or don't understand it. If you look, and I'll actually look on the website and I'll cover some of this stuff, because I do have the instructions, which this is a V2 actually, currently shipping board version, even though this one's 8 years old. Okay, this is the Lumora, and also too on here. These are drivers. These are logic gate drivers. They scrape the numbers off. But that's all there. They're 16 pin. Anyway, let's get into how this would set up. If you look over here, they have a USB 5 volt and ground. Okay. Now you don't want to hook this up to your computer here through the USB port. You want to use this strictly for controlling the device through software. You don't want to try to drive any kind of LED with this. Every LED that you drive is basically 0.25 milliamp. So if you were to have 10 of them, that's 2.5 amps. Right? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. You just don't want to do it. All right. No. That's 250. So you could have 20. You could run 20, but 20 at full bore would be your full load. Remember that. 0.25 milliamps would go to 500 milliamp, which is essentially a half amp, which is all this could do. Plus, you got to control it accurately. So IDVT board allows you to hook up multiple voltage power supplies. You look right here. On here, I know this is hard to see, but each one of these pins represents a bank of 8. There's 32 outputs. Okay, and this also allows for multi-voltage input. Those type of power supplies are really expensive, but I'll tell you how. I'm going to cover that, and I'll make a video on it. You see right there? There's the ground. So your ground from your power supply would go where ground. Don't put on the +5 USB. Okay. How it would work is, we'd go over here on these banks. Each one of these would get a voltage output. Now my system is going to have 5 volts internal, 12 volts external on my lighting systems. So I basically would take the, let's see here, according to this, the external ground of a PC power supply, because it has a multi-output. So you would hook +5 volt devices to inputs 1.8, so your +5 would go here. And let's say, or the first 16 +5, or the first 8 and then the second 8, you could be +12. You have to use the same power supply. That's where people get confused. If you hook a power supply up to a ground here from a 5 volt, okay, and a power supply up here, 5 volt for positive, and a different power supply 12 volt, but you share this negative over here, because there's going to be different frequencies in the output, because it's an AC to DC conversion, you're going to have ripple and all that stuff. It's hard to say what will happen here, but I'm telling you, this chip right here, this is not going to work for that. It would more than likely fry it right away. You can't use multiple grounds and expect to get the result that you want. Also, too, about using PC power supplies, this was designed around that. It's a very stable supply. If you just use a plug-in power supply, as the lights change in dimness and colors and stuff like that, you're going to see what's called a saturation drop or an ISO loop, where as soon as you put it on the power, it won't be stable. The light will actually dim first and then recover. The power supply will recover, and that's just the use of old analog coils without the use of modern operational amplifiers and such to monitor the frequency and get the high output and stability that you want. So, like I said, you would go, let's say you wanted to do a bank of 8 5-volt. You put that on the first 8 here. Second bank, 12-volt here from the PC power supply. And then this would be the common ground over here, where it says ground right here on this pin. Okay. So that's the first port. I'm going to be using this. It's really nice. And there will be a lot of wiring and the bundling and all that. And I will show all that when it's done. But that's the first video, Whatnots. It's a very good board when you get your hand on it. They make one, Ultimark makes one, but it's pretty hairy setup, a lot to it. They're $100. These are half that. They work very good. And I'm going to stick with this. This has always proven to be reliable. And we're using it from the original desk build. It's going to be good stuff. All right, thanks for watching.